The key to success on the field and in your backyard is a comprehensive game plan. So if you're building a fence or a deck this year, trust a Turkstra coach to design, quote, or order the right materials for your project. Visit a Turkstra Lumber near you to learn more.
From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker.
Welcome back to the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. The Ticats and a huge win at home at Tim Hortons Field last Saturday, September 30th. And that was against Calgary, of course, 22-15. The Ticats came away with a win to turn into a 7-8 team as they get ready for last 3 games of the season and heading out to Saskatchewan this weekend. As always, fans, send any question you have for Coach O to gameday@ticats.ca. We have one later in this episode from Sarah. Very fun part of our show, and we may pick your question on next week's episode. Coach, great win on Saturday night. Really fun to call, fun to watch. What stood out to me the most right off the bat was the physicality that your defense was with. It was playoff Grey Cup physicality that had to feel good, putting the tape on and showing that to the guys and some of the examples of what it means to be a physical Ticat team.
Yeah, I think you said it best there, Luke. It was apparent that everybody approached the game, and they were, once the excitement and stuff wears off, you got to execute. And part of executing down the stretch, I truly believe that the bigger the game, the more physical you got to be. And that doesn't mean that that's always true, but that's just something that we've kind of lived by since, I've been here in 13. And there is a time for finesse and doing things in a certain manner, but defensively, it's really a chance to let loose and go through, just what we believe we want to be. It was a chance to take another step. And then ultimately, despite all that, it's coming out with a win. So all 3 phases I thought contributed in their own way, and the timing of it was really impeccable in some situations.
Yeah, the defense allowing no touchdowns from Calgary. 5 field goals. It was almost, I don't know if Calgary, I'm trying to think what the deepest yard line they made it to, but they were not down at near your guys' goal line for most of the game there. Just high energy. What do you attribute that to? Is that a concerted effort at that field position, as they're starting to enter into scoring territory? Is there something defensively that you guys are doing that had success to stop them from scoring points?
No, I think we played top down for the most part in the secondary. And for those listening, that just try to keep the other team's color in front of yours. And sometimes you're going to give up a higher completion percentage if people are taking what they can give you. But I think that's what really the biggest thing is we didn't give up a bunch of explosions, and that's been a challenge area for us this year. And no, there wasn't any secret formula, secret calls. From being around me, Luke, that I always say there are no magic defenses. There's no magic offensive plays. There's no magic special teams play. The magic is the players and the people, and they're the ones that create it. So I thought we did a great job of, when play opportunities were there, we made them in all 3 phases. We didn't play flawless by any means, but we did what it took in certain situations in order to give ourselves the best opportunity to win.
Yeah. Saw a big hit from Stavros Katsantonis. What do you say about a hit like that? And man, it was like perfect form, right? It was like really, really the perfect football hit. And it's interesting when you see something like that. And Stavros is the one delivering that contact, and then he's just standing there after the play. There's just like some signs of that's just like the perfect technique, You put that on tape, you show the team. You got to get fired up about something like that.
Yeah, I think football, that's football, at its best. Good, clean hit. They've taken a lot of that out of the game for player safety, and that's for good measure. And, I'm all for that. But when you have an opportunity to have a clean hit like that, especially when you're on the giving end of it, I know you were you were on the receiving end of multiple of those. And, I think it did affect the game a little bit. I think the receivers coming over the middle, you don't use the word. I just think that, you're less apt to go after the ball the way you did before, and sometimes it's unknowingly. It just, those are exciting plays, really got the crowd going and sparked our defense.
Yeah, it did create a danger zone in the middle of the field there. You could tell things were happening a little differently, and actually Stavros got another one later in the game that was a pretty good hit. And like I said, the rest of the defense was unbelievably physical as well. Very encouraging looking towards playoffs like that. I said in the broadcast it was a very Rob Hitchcock presence in the middle of the field there. Do you agree with that analysis?
I would agree. Rob manned the middle pretty damn good for a lot of years, and I know he was smiling watching that.
Yes, I'm sure he was. Coach, your offense. Matt Shiltz comes into the game. When the game started on that Saturday night, were you expecting to play Shiltz? I mean, was that the plan at some point?
Yeah, Scott and I had talked about it, and both the quarterback room and it was aware of where we were going to go. We knew Matt was going to see some time. We didn't have that exactly mapped out, i.e. this series, that series, this quarter. It's just a decision that Scott and I made there, and it's not that Taylor was doing anything terrible. Just sometimes you got to trust your gut and go with it. And the beautiful thing is that as hard as decisions like that are, we didn't know how long Matt was going to stay in. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, it was just that both were going to play, and it ended up how it ended up. And I just big ups to Taylor, who was by the end of it leading the crowd and getting them going, just being the ultimate teammate of what could be a very difficult situation for a young quarterback that has he's a big reason why we're where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, I think, all around. And I guess maybe we'll get into this more at the end of the episode, but you've got these 3 games left in this season. You're locked into the playoffs. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's well earned, well deserved. But it's interesting here. It's not that nothing else can be decided. There is still a battle of a home playoff game, but you're going to have to play 3 playoff games to win a Grey Cup. That's set in stone. You're in the playoffs. That's set in stone. Are you gonna tinker a little bit with this offense in these last 3 games, or are you going to Sask, picking your guy that you want and heading out there with intentions to keep it that way?
Yeah, all 3 quarterbacks will continue to get reps in practice. It hasn't been determined, Luke, exactly what direction we're going to head. Part of it just depends on the health of all of them, right? And where we go. So we're approaching every game the same. That's to win. And, which person leads us, or if it's a combination of, we'll decide that as we go throughout the practice week.
Very good. As you're looking at your offense right now, Coach, like we said, 3 games left and then it's go time. What else is needed from them? What's another stage of growth that you need to see from your offense before playoffs?
Yeah, I just think more consistency. I think in spurts, we've got it all, Luke, to be honest with you. Yeah. Like, there's time. Really impressed with how everybody in the stadium knew we were going to run the football, and we were able to run the football. I always liken it to, it's like one-on-one pass, one-on-one when you're doing in training camp, it's quote unquote considered an offensive drill, and whatnot. But I always looked at defensive inside drill. When you go to inside run, for those of you listening, it's just really the offense and defensive line and the linebackers and the running back. I consider that a defensive drill because we know defenses know you're going to run the ball, and you should stop them. So anytime an offense can get a few yards in training camp, when everybody knows they're going to run it, that's a win. And you have to be able to close out games and not always throw it because balls can get tipped. You can get quick holding calls, those type of things. And I just I would like for us to be able to do that early in the game also, not just closing a game out. And then we need to continue to throw the ball down the field and make those explosive plays. And I thought Matt gave our guys an opportunity there. and they came up with those big plays, because you're only going to be able to put together so many 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 play drives that end up in touchdowns. There's sometimes you're going to have explosive plays, and in your playing days, I think that was part of what made us so dangerous, is we were able to do the things underneath, but we also could stretch the field. So we're going to need to continue to do that, and we got to keep the quarterback upright, and that'll be. So I think we've done all of those things, Luke. I think the thing that is just consistently and string it together consistently for 2, 3, 4 quarters, and then 2, 3, 4 weeks, and not be as sporadic with it.
Very good. Coach, let's take a fan question here. This one is from Sarah M. in Hamilton. Again, fans and listeners, you can send your questions to Coach at gameday@ticats.ca. Today, Sarah asks, Coach, thank you for an exciting season. I would like to know, how do you prepare for these last 3 games knowing you're in the playoffs? Will you play different players and rest veteran players as you get ready for a Grey Cup run? Thanks, and go Ticats.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I think it's a great question, and without bogging you down in all the fine fixtures and details, you'd love to take a look at as many players as you could down the stretch. We do know we have the opportunity, until told otherwise or mathematically eliminated, to have a home field game. We always strive for the sky, if you will. We're always gonna reach for those type of things. Within that, it is the healthiest team. You got to remain healthy, but you can't rest everybody. So you're kind of caught of the same situation as you are in maybe a preseason game or things like that. Do you play your players or not? The fine fixtures and details, Sarah, would be there's a thing called a salary cap, and you just can't afford to rest everybody. And I think that's the thing that people don't understand, is maybe you play a player and they get nicked and they're like, how stupid. How could you have done that? And then you don't play a player, and then they show up in a game late and they're rusty. How could you not? How could you sit them for 2 weeks and think that they were going to be fresh? So that's what we get paid for, to make those decisions. But there isn't a right one. The right one would be, once you qualify, you play the playoff game the next week. It just doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. And so we'll deal with it week to week and be as smart as we can, but football's a physical game, and unfortunately injuries happen, and there is no exact way to do it or cookie cutter model to follow, Sarah. So great question. Unfortunately, there isn't a great answer, except for to straddle the fence and say that within the confines of the cap and the health of your football team, you make the best decision that you can.
Yeah, interesting perspective there. Nobody was thinking about the salary cap there in our listeners crowd, nor was I. And it also is, we'll see week to week. It depends how the games between Hamilton's schedule until that last game, which is in Hamilton against the Ticats, and then how the Ticats fare in these 2 weeks leading into that Montreal game as well. So Interesting. We'll see how it shakes down as we get nearer to that last game of the season, and if that game ends up having any impact or not. The Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is presented by Turkstra Lumber. Check out the project coaches at Turkstra Lumber. They can help with every part of your home reno, from designing a deck to ordering a new front door. Learn more at turkstralumber.com. Coach, there is a lot of Grey Cup events announced, including Carrie Underwood, a Santa Claus parade on Saturday. Carrie Underwood's on the Friday of Grey Cup. Santa Claus on the Saturday of Grey Cup. And then, of course, the game day, Grey Cup Sunday, and Green Day will be the halftime show. Coach, you're going to miss all that, aren't you?
Yep, but that's okay. Yeah. I don't mind that. That means we're in the game, and hopefully we've got a big lead at halftime. So yes. won't be part of the halftime festivities. I'll let everybody else enjoy that, but I'm sure it'll be recorded, and I'll get a chance to take a look at it after. But, yeah, there's no doubt that I know Hamilton's going to do it, and they are and have been working on this for a while, a fantastic job of the Grey Cup, and I just know that announcements like that just add to the excitement. We're just trying to add ourselves to the mix, one practice, one day, one game at a time. So exciting news. I'm excited for the city. I'm excited for Canada and the CFL. The Grey Cup is just an epic event that happens every year. The fact that it's in Hamilton, and the announcements and the job and the hard work that everybody is doing, I know that the city of Hamilton is going to be extremely proud, but I think it's going to be a great event for all of Canada and for those that come to enjoy the Grey Cup every year.
Yeah, very exciting. And you go down and talk to Ticats staff after the Ticats game, and since the preseason games, there's a huge collection of Ticat employees who are pouring their hearts into the Grey Cup week, and they have been for months and months and months. So very excited for that week and for the announcements and Carrie Underwood, Green Day, and all the rest. And well, Coach, you're a playoff team now. A couple weeks until you can live that reality out. But you mentioned in your post-game interview, you told everybody, stick with you. And sure enough, now you've earned a playoff spot, and so congratulations on that. And Hamilton fans will surely continue to stick with us here, and we'll have an exciting 3 games before we can see the Hamilton Ticats in a playoff game.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. Yeah, I know it's a wide range of emotions, but that's what's beautiful about the CFL season. And you gotta stay the course. You gotta find the right people. Obviously, you gotta execute along the way. But just excited for you guys too. It's always more fun when people win and you start to hit your stride a little bit. So excited for the city of Hamilton, the whole organization, but so much work yet to be done. But there's nothing wrong with stopping and smelling the roses, if you will, a little bit along the journey. I know everybody rides the wave of emotion every week. You got great day afters, you know, and there was a lot of weeks there where it was like, oh my gosh, this is what it is. But yeah, that's why I said stick with us. So here we are, and look forward to the next month or so here.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we'll have our episode next week and every week throughout the remainder of the season. Fans, thanks for tuning in. The Ticats Audio Network coverage this Saturday as the Ticats go to Saskatchewan will start at 6 p.m. with the pregame show, Andy and Bubba. Coach, best of luck with your week of prep. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke.
Another episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is in the books. Let us know your thoughts. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Coach O and Luke are back next week to discuss the latest from the locker room. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.